Why do we love zombies? Is it because we never get a chance to taste the truly terrifying anymore in society? Is it because our simple mundane existence is draining the life out of us so much that we identify with the undead? Or is it because we secretly all have a killer within us, one that is aching to get out? So when we present it with an undead corpse of a human, it offers us a acceptable place to rid ourselves of our more primal urges. Or is it because my battery on my camera is about to die? I don't know if it's any of that, but I can tell you why I think we love zombies from a filmmaking perspective. Hi, I'm Michael Lindsay. I'm a director, and I just got finished putting out my short film, All That's Left, which is the sponsor for this video. Well, All That's Left is a web series about a world where a pandemic has ravaged the land, causing certain people to turn into rabid monsters. Ruth is now stuck in an apocalyptic nightmare with nothing more than a bat to arm her. When an infected begins chasing her, she must find a way to survive alone in the woods. Now, this is going to be an ongoing thing. We're going to try and do one of these every other month, switching in and out between another series I have called The Kyla Connected Universe. But you didn't come here for that. The word zombie is a Haitian word, and it comes from a time when Haiti was being enslaved by the French. Now, what a zombie meant back then was a zombie was a corpse of a human that a wizard or, somebody who practiced some sort of magic could use to do their bidding. They could raise them from the dead with spells, and they would do their bidding with this undead corpse. You actually see something similar to that in Harry Potter. There's a situation in Harry Potter where Voldemort uses undead corpses to fight against Harry Potter. So then over time, the stories of these Haitian zombies kind of make their way to America. And throughout the 1950s, you start getting these sort of stories where these black magic stories where white men would go down to Haiti and there would be all these uncivilized black Haitians, and they would raise the dead and create monsters that would chase, and the white guys would be like, "You need civilization!" It's a whole thing. But then in this year, George A. Romero created The Night of the Living Dead, which created the modern day zombie as we know it in America, or really worldwide, the modern day movie zombie. The Night of the Living Dead was a movie about a group of people trying to survive an attack of the undead, people coming up from the graves in a small town to try and kill people. This movie established what we now consider to be like our modern day definition of zombies, because these zombies, they aren't necessarily controlled by anyone. You can't point to a singular reason why they came back. They just come back, and they also have a taste for human flesh. This is the first time you see zombies having a taste for human flesh. In the Haitian myth, that they more so just did work. They could be good, it could be bad. They just would do work for whoever had brought them back. Whereas in this movie, they came back, nobody was in control of them, and they actually wanted to eat people. So that's where the cannibalism aspect of zombies comes from, is The Night of the Living Dead by George A. Romero. Overall, I don't want to get too much into the history of zombies because I'm not a historian, but there are videos out there. There's one I'm going to link in the doobly-doo that is about zombies and how they came to be, from a series called Monstrum on PBS's YouTube channel. So I'll link that in there if you want more information about the history of zombies. But what I want to talk about is why do we love zombies, why I love zombies, why I think that zombies are the best movie monster. Now, in my opinion, zombies are the most scary and versatile movie monsters for many factors. The first of the physical factors is being that they can't feel any pain, they don't get tired. Kind of like the scene in Zombieland where one of the rules is that you should do cardio in a zombie apocalypse because zombies don't need to take a break. They can't feel pain, so therefore they can't feel the pain of overexerting themselves. Like if you run too far and your muscles get tired, your lungs get weak, arms get sweaty, knees weak, vomit on their sweater already. You know what I'm saying? Like zombies don't have to deal with that. They never heard Eminem, so they don't really, they don't deal with that. The only way to really get away from a zombie or a group of zombies is to hide or kill them. You really can't run away from them because they'll just keep following you until you run out of breath, which is very different from, like a human being or say a werewolf or something. I mean, I get that. Sure. I've never seen a werewolf movie where the werewolf gets tired, but there's no physiological reason why a werewolf wouldn't get tired. You know what I mean? Like, it's a living being. It has blood running through its veins. It needs ATP. Shouts out to my biology teacher in 12th grade. It needs ATP to run its cells. Like, there's no reason a werewolf should not be able to like grow tired. You know what I mean? Vampires, okay, I'll give you that a little bit. You know, vampires, some of them can float, some can fly, some have super speed to where they can pretty much run anywhere and get there before they get tired. But if we're talking about just a normal traditional vampire that just sucks blood, I also don't see why they would never get tired, because, you know, they need traditional. They're, you know, maybe I'm caping a little bit for zombies right here. Maybe vampires wouldn't get tired too, but vampires can feel pain. I mean, if you get a cross and just hold it up to a vampire, they'd be like, ah. That zombie ain't gonna worry about no little cross, bro. Like, the zombie is gonna eat through the cross and chew off your hand. Like, bro, if you put a little silver in some water and just throw it at a werewolf, they're like, ah, ah. Like, it's silver in water. Like, that really hurts you? That's crazy. The zombies don't have any easy mode way to kill them. Like, sure, you know, you can shoot them in the brain, but like, are you a trained assassin? Like, maybe you are a marksman, but I doubt the majority of people watching this video are marksmen. Do you know how hard it is to get a headshot? Have you ever played Call of Duty? It's hard to get a headshot in a video game. Like, in real life, I'm sure it's kind of difficult. And then if you let them get close enough to you where it's an easy shot, if there's more than one, good luck trying to dome piece 3 zombies around you at like, pow, pow, pow. You're not John Wick. Stop it. The second reason why they're so terrifying is because they're incredibly contagious. I think that after what happened in 2020, we should all know how scary a contagious virus should be. I mean,
some of y'all don't. Some of y'all didn't wear masks and y'all refused to get a vaccine and y'all, you know, but that's another conversation for another day.
But most people recognize after 2020 that, you know, pandemics are pretty scary and actually can really happen. Now, imagine if instead of people who got COVID just like, you know, coughing, imagine if they all just came and like started to kill you and like were like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they came and tried to eat you after. That would be pretty terrifying. Like, imagine trying to take care of a loved one and not knowing if they're going to just kind of be sick for a couple weeks or if they're going to jump out of the bed and try to chew your face off. Which, by the way, watch All That's Left, because that is the premise of our film. I mean, think about movies like 28 Days Later, like where a dude literally he gets knocked unconscious and wakes up like a couple months later and boom, like the entire world is overran by zombies, which is very realistic because in 28 Days Later, the zombie virus is spread through not just biting, but also through blood and just bodily fluids, which to me feels realistic. I mean, considering what we just dealt with this pandemic, we know that bodily fluids are a way to transmit a disease. So in that one, like literally like a zombie gets close enough to you, get some blood in your eyes or in your mouth, boom, you a zombie. And you think about these zombies are fast paced, which to me, by the way, I never understood slow zombies. It's like, just because you got a virus that's controlling your brain, why can't you run? You know what I mean? But fast zombies, they can go around, find anybody, bite them, even get a little bit close on them, get a little bit of blood in your mouth or your eyes, and boom, now you're a zombie. Now you're running off to the next person. And if the transition period to becoming a zombie is any less than like a few hours where people can contain you, the entire society is going down, bro. We are not prepared for a zombie outbreak if the zombies are fast. Like, there's no way the government can do anything with that. Like, if I turn into a zombie, bite my fiance when she gets home, then we bust out the house, run down the street, the people running on the street aren't going to know what's going on. They might start running away, but they'll get tired, just like I said, and then we'll bite them. Now they get up and go turn. You know, there's a great series about zombies called Black Summer where they show a scene just like this where a woman is running away from a zombie. She gets bit. She like turns, gets up and then runs off and like bites like 5 more people. And it's like, just like that, 6 more zombies were created in the span of like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, that is scary. Vampires, you gotta do special stuff to turn someone into a vampire. If a vampire just sucks your blood, they just kill you. They gotta like suck your blood and then put you in a coffin, or like if it's True Blood rules, they have to like bury you under the ground. I don't believe that there can be a pandemic of vampires because it was just too much effort. And they kind of got to keep on the low because the second you stab them with a piece of wood, they just explode. You can do that before they put a bunch of people in a coffin. And then they have to have the desire to want to do that. Whereas zombies, the desire to make other zombies is built into the nature of a zombie. werewolves, you have to be bitten by a werewolf on this full moon and not die to turn into a werewolf. I mean, let's be real. How many people get attacked by wolves and survive? And how many people get attacked by wolves on a full moon? Like, it's just like, it's a very specific, like a 3 months out the year. The full moon is a short span of time for you to be able to like start a pandemic. You know what I mean? Especially when you have to get bit under the full moon. So if you get bit in your house, if you get bit during the day, you don't turn, you just die. So it's a lot of stipulations, whereas a zombie, you get some blood in your mouth, you get some blood in your eye, somebody runs up and bites you. I mean, it's so many different ways, and it's not like a random stipulation like, oh, you have to be buried first. Oh, it has to happen during the full moon. It's the ability to start a pandemic of zombies, I think, is so much more prevalent if a zombie outbreak ever happened. Now, another thing I want to note is that like cannibalism is just inherently scary. Like the idea of somebody wanting to eat you is just inherently scary. I think it's just like unnatural and something that is such like a flip of the natural order of things that it's inherently like a terrifying idea of somebody trying to eat you. That's just me. Also, being chewed to death seems like one of the worst ways to go. Like it seems like a slow and painful death to be eaten alive by humans. Like at least if I get eaten alive by a bear, they're gonna like whip me around. I can hope maybe they'll snap my neck and I can go quickly. A zombie is just gonna They're just going to pin you down and roast on you for hours. Like, dog, that's a terrible way to go. That is like probably one of the worst horror movie ways to go, unless you're talking about like Freddy sucking you into the bed and then spewing you out. But even that doesn't seem as painful as getting eaten alive. I don't know if there's a more painful horror movie monster except for Hellraiser than zombies. Now, one thing you might be saying is like, Michael, all these physical attributes are great, but the thing is zombies are dumb. They can't even open a door. Like all you have to do is go in the house and you don't even have to deal with the zombie. And you're right. But zombies actually have various intelligence because in Night of the Living Dead, those zombies actually talk and would try to get people to come out of the house. It's over time as the zombie myth started to grow in American movies that we kind of started to dumb them down. But zombies, I think even in the Haitian myth, they could sometimes speak. They had various levels of intelligence. Some can use guns. Like, imagine like a zombie with a gun. Like, come on. Like now it's a cheat code. You know what I mean? And there's that. And also sometimes the zombies being dumb can actually serve their benefit. Like in the movie World War Z, where they're pretty stupid, but there's really nowhere to be safe because they're so stupid that if they sense you're on top of a building, they'll just start running at the building, and then other ones will run at the building, and then and the next thing you know, they'll climb the entire building on top of each other like ants and get to you. Like, okay, yeah, that's dumb, but it's also freaking terrifying. So, I don't know about that. Outside just the physical reality of zombies, like if we actually had to deal with them in real life, you have the ability to do so much in the writer's room when it comes to zombies. I mean, they have so much versatility. You can make a comedy out of them like Zombieland or Shaun of the Dead. You can make a action film or, an action TV series like Black Summer or like the Resident Evil movies. You can make it a drama like The Walking Dead or the movie Maggie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can tell an immense character study, like that zombie movie with Aubrey Plaza that I can't remember right now. I mean, I would suggest you watch all of these. I mean, these are good shows, good movies, even outside of just being good zombie movies or zombie shows. I think that zombies probably have more potential than any other movie monster to just be a decent movie or a decent film, or those are the same thing, Michael, or a decent TV show than any other thing. And this is because one of the biggest advantages you have with zombies is that they're pretty low budget. I mean, I just did a zombie short film. As you know, it's my third time announcing it. For instance, in our zombie short film, All That's Left, we pretty much just went out in the woods. We bought some over-the-counter makeup. I used the camera I'm filming this with, which is kind of an expensive camera, I'm not going to lie, but, it's what I had. And we just put it together, and I mean, I don't know, I think it turned out pretty well. People I showed thinks it turns out pretty well. You let me know how you feel. I'll put that right here somewhere in one of these linky thingies. But it only cost us like maybe $100. Like, I mean, you have movies like Shaun of the Dead, which were a low budget movie. $6 million sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a very low budget movie. You had also movies like Maggie, again with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was $1.5 million, and it got a really good critical reception or won awards at festivals and things like that. And I wonder how much of that $1.5 million budget was spent on getting Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can do them low budget, but you can also do them really high budget. You can do movies like World War Z with Brad Pitt. What was the budget for World War Z?
$190.
All right, that's enough. She meant 190 million. Give her a break. She's not Siri, but I'm just playing. Siri's trash too. I don't rock with Apple, but that's a whole other video. $190 million budget, $6 million budget, $1 million budget, or $100. You can make a great zombie film for any of that. Night of the Living Dead itself was a pretty low budget movie, and that started the entire zombie craze. Let's hear how much that was. What was the budget for Night of the Living Dead?
Night of the Living Dead had a budget of $114,000.
What? Excuse me? Okay. What about this? What is $114,000 in 1970 today?
According to Inflation Calculator, $144,000 in 1970 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $1,026,515.88 today, an increase of 800.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, but still, like $1 million for a movie, that's a pretty low budget movie, unfortunately. Golly. Another thing that I've noticed, it's a little bit more of like a technical writing thing, is zombies offer you the ability to really control the pace of a television show or a movie however you want. Like if it's getting too slow, you can just throw in a zombie. Like, oh no, the zombies are breaking in. Like you see that a lot in The Walking Dead, especially the season. The season I stopped watching The Walking Dead is the prison season. Oh my gosh, that season was so slow. But every time they needed a little bit of excitement, they'd be like, oh no, the zombies are breaking through the fence. We have to go out and kill the zombies now. When they were on the farm in The Walking Dead, they were like, oh no, there's a zombie in the well. We have to figure out how to get the zombie out the well so we can have clean drinking water, and then they would just go back to talking to each other for another 5 episodes. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like that, but it is an example of how the second you want the some action or some interest, you can just throw a zombie in there. And it's interesting to watch people kill zombies. And so then they can go back to talking. You're like, okay, cool. Because I couldn't stand them talking for another episode. Thank God they threw a zombie attack in there. But on the flip side, you have a show like Black Summer, which is very fast paced and pretty much, I don't know, it feels like 75% of the show is fights with zombies. But whenever they want to give you a little bit of a breather, want to give you a little bit of character development, guess what? They find a place to hide. Like that classic, they go into a home or something, and then they stay there and they board up the windows for a little while. And then you get to know the characters through that. Like, if you want to speed up the story, throw some zombies in there. If you want to slow it down, they can find shelter. You can kind of just use those two things as like a gas pedal and a brake. Gas pedal. Lastly, like I said before, they're extremely versatile. Like, I'll just say a list of like movie genres. Like, come on. Shaun of the Dead, classic. It's a comedy, very funny. Zombieland, classic, box office smash. You got Maggie, drama. What's the Aubrey Plaza movie with Dane DeHaan? What was that zombie movie with Aubrey Plaza and Dane DeHaan?
Okay, but first you'll have to unlock your device.
Don't embarrass me in front of my new friends. What was the zombie movie with Aubrey Plaza and Dane DeHaan?
Life After Beth is a 2014 movie directed by Jeff Baena, starring Aubrey Plaza, Dane DeHaan, and John C. Reilly.
Like, Life After Beth is a romantic comedy about zombies. Like, come on. And it's good because it has Aubrey Plaza in it. So I mean, like, you can really do whatever you want with zombies and people will really eat it up. So I think as a writer, the ability to work in multiple genres, work with low or high budgets, and the ability to speed up or slow down the pace whenever you want is a super, super duper duper fun combination to work with. I can say that from experience. Another thing I love about zombies is that they have immense metaphorical potential. So many zombie shows and movies, the zombies, aren't really just zombies. They are stand-ins for different things that we deal with in society as humans. The zombie myth as a whole, as it was started in Haiti, was an allegory for slavery and taking away a human being's agency, and to the point where they might as well be dead. hence an undead corpse doing the work of a wizard or somebody like that. And that is the reference to Haitians being enslaved by the French. So it even started as a political social allegory for an atrocity that was going on at the time. Then in Night of the Living Dead, you have this story about zombies coming back to life in the 60s in a rural town that is mostly white. But the lead of the movie is a black man. And throughout the movie, that black man gains the trust of the survivors in the town, and he actually leads them to survive. And spoilers for the Night of the Living Dead, it's like a 50-year-old movie, but if you don't know about it or you don't want to know about it, he gets shot by the police at the end. Yes, at the end of the Night of the Living Dead, after this man has saved the townsfolk from the zombies, the police roll up. I don't even think it's police. I think it's just two random like redneck dudes, which makes it even worse. Like, especially like when you consider Ahmaud Arbery, he rounds up the people in the house. They all get out. The two people see the black guy and go, he must be one of them. And they shoot him in the head and he dies. And that's how the Night of the Living Dead ends. If that is not a political allegory, I don't know what is. Now, George A. Romero, for years and years and years, denied that it was a political allegory. He said that he just chose a black man as the lead because he was the best actor who auditioned. But as he got older, he started to soften up to the idea that, okay, even if that wasn't my intent, it does have it there. And it's probably a good thing that it does have it there. Also, you have examples like Dawn of the Dead, which is a 1970 zombie movie directed by the same director, George A. Romero, where zombies take over a small town in the Midwest and people go to the mall for shelter. And the thing about it is this was an allegory for consumerism. At this time, late 1970s, or was this the 80s? I'll put it here. But at this time, you know, malls were starting to become big. Consumer culture was starting to become really big. You know, buying all different types of stuff because it made you cool was starting to become really popular amongst not just the elites of society, but people who were middle and lower middle class. And Dawn of the Dead was an allegory for people going to shopping malls and just buying, you know, things because people told them to. Basically saying that, you know, when it comes to capitalism, when it comes to consumerism, we're all becoming zombies because these people are controlling us and we just go in and buy more stuff, basically. They just know consumerism so much that even as a zombie, they still want to buy, they still want to consume items that someone taught them to buy. The Walking Dead, the zombies are, you know, a great allegory for the idea that the real monsters are humans. You know, as The Walking Dead goes on, more and more they find themselves battling against other humans instead of against the zombies, to the point where zombies are almost, I don't know, like roaches or something to them. Like they can just squash them out pretty easily. It's really not the zombies they're worried about, it's the other people. And so in that universe, zombies are a greater metaphor for the evil that resides within all of us, and how if we let it go unchecked, the world can become an apocalyptic place. And also, in my opinion, zombies as a whole are just a big metaphor for how we're afraid of death. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally the dead coming back to grab us and bring us to be one of them. Like, it's literally the most obvious metaphor and allegory for our fear of death that there can be, and us trying to defeat death, and how at the end of the day, death swallows us all. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the future of zombies. I don't want to underestimate The Walking Dead, you know, going off the air. I do think it opens up another world for zombies. You know, The Walking Dead was such a behemoth that I think it was tough for other zombie shows and movies to kind of get off the ground because, I don't know, it was like everyone would think you're copying The Walking Dead. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I think that there's kind of like the world is wide open for zombies, you know, like that's why I'm making All That's Left, which is, you know, our zombie series. And I do think that maybe we're getting tired of like serious zombies and then silly zombies. You know what I mean? Like there was that Lupita Nyong'o film, Little Monsters, and it didn't really do that well at the box office, even though it got great critical reception, probably because it's too funny. And then The Walking Dead is like mad serious. I think that maybe people want something in the mid-ground. You know what I mean? Like Black Summer is just kind of more action based. I also want to know, you know, I feel like after COVID, you know, after we experienced a real pandemic, I think we have to change the way we think about zombie movies. I know for ours, we decided, you know, it can be spread respiratorily as well, because why wouldn't it? After we just dealt with a respiratory pandemic, to me, it's like the idea of zombies being spread through respiratory system is very interesting. So I just feel like after a real pandemic, I don't know, I feel like we have to make more zombie movies, and we have to change the way we make them, and incorporate our new understanding of the pandemic into it. You know what I mean? But yeah, in conclusion, zombies are the best. They have more narrative potential than any other movie monster. They have immense budget elasticity to where you can do them at a high budget or a low budget. They have incredible social and metaphorical implications that you can play with as a writer. And they do a great job of just adding a little spice to any story. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to make a romance film, but you're worried because like nobody wants to watch little romance stories anymore, throw zombies in there. You know what I mean? Like, you want to make an action movie, but nowadays the only action movies that can really get traction are superhero movies, throw zombies in there. It's like zombies are just great spice to just sprinkle on top of a story you already had going and make it like that extra. Tell me what you think in the comments. And yeah, if you want to see my examples of my work, go and watch more of my videos. I have another series other than my zombie series, All That's Left, called The Kyla Connected Universe, it's my take on a superhero story, except for my superheroes all have powers that kind of deal with what they're going through in life. And they're specifically powers that you've never seen before. And they're all non-white people. At me in the comments. All right, bye. I couldn't talk to the pigs, see them around school. They would try picking me up. I ask them, what did I do? They tell me what you got to lose. Won't lose my life for your dues. I ain't got nothing to prove. Okay, let's move.